Good morning to my lecturer and my fellow friends. Today, I'm going to present about general linguistic, the project of the general linguistic as well. So before I present about the project of the general linguistic, I would like to introduce myself and my group members as well. My name is Nisha Sadasivam, following by my group members, Azrul and Rutra. So for the introduction to this project, the linguistic, we mainly focus on the language in morphology, syntax, semantic, pragmatic, and discourse analysis. So these are the five languages that we mainly focusing on, and we examine and develop linguistic theory on the basic comparable on it. So the research for common features that we probably limiting for variation in natural language is morphology. So there are a lot of words such as pragmatic, semantic, and so on. So we mainly focus on the languages as well. And we aimly study the universal on a broad and solid empirical base as well. So the language is mainly used and it's important to every niches as well. So let me show some are the research that I done in this morphology and syntax. So because that's the part that I did. So let me present about the morphology and the syntax as well. Excuse. So for the morphology is the word, okay, and its form and their relationship were in the same language. So most probably this is the word that's a comparable. For example, it can say like dog as cat is to cats. So there will be its analysis the structure of word and the parts of words such as stem, roots, words, prefix, and suffix. So there are some explanations about the morphology as well. And then mainly focus on word formation process. Okay, what is the meaning of word formation process? It's a new word are produced either by modification of existing words or by complete innovation as well. So there will be derivational morphemes, and they make new words in the language often used to make words of a different grammatical category from the stem. For example, these are the example derivational from the article. The kids who could only speculate about what happened at the parties of athletic seniors. So the idea struck me as brutally, unspeakably ugly. So these are the derivational morphemes used that it's additionally add on like new words as well. So following up for the inflectional morphemes. Inflectional morphemes is produce new words but to indicate grammatical function of a word. So this would be like singular or plural, and it would be more to past tense or other tenses, comparative or possessive. So for example of the inflectional from the article that we can see, for example, a 16-year-old girl reported that she was raped that night in a storage shed of a dirt road in my hometown of Eric Lawton, Texas. So this is considerably that we can see reported raped. So this is they use ed, so it's normally can see it's a past tense. So following up next, nobody was ever prosecuted for it and nobody was punished except arguably her. So we can see that ed there, so it's most probably inflectional morphemes. So moving on for the morphological description. Okay, what is the meaning of morphological description? Morphology in linguistic study for internal construction of words Languages vary widely in the degree to which word can be analyzed into word elements of morphomes. So, for example, of the morphological description from the article, there will be few examples, and I only can explain about some. And for the one I only heard about her. So I is referred to the functional, only functional, her lexical, about functional, and her functional. So there will be like functional, lexical, and there will be a lot of functional and lexical as well. So moving on for the next topic is syntax. Okay. For the syntax, syntax refer to rules that the way in which word combine to form phrases, clauses, and sentences. The term syntax come from Greek, meaning arranged together. The term also used to mean the study of the syntactic properties of a language. In computer context, the term referred to the proper ordering of symbols and codes of that the computer can understand what instructions are telling it to do. So syntax is one of the major components of grammar. So let me see what is in the syntax as well. So in the syntax, we can see surface and deep structure as well. So surface structure is the two sentences above is different. So sentence one is the active sentence, sentence two is a passive sentence. There will be like one sentence, and the sentence ones will be the active and sentence two will be passive. Though there will be differences in the syntactical structure of the sentence above. So deep structure is abstract level of organization where all the elements determining structural interpretation are represented. Both sentences are closely related. So the both I'll just put the both sentences as well, surface and deep structure. So the example of the surface structure in the article, for the A, you can see there will be active and there will be passive. Okay, a 16 years old girl report that she got raped that night, so it will be active. A 16-year-old girl reported that she was raped that night, so it will be passive. So there are few that you can see. For example, so structural ambiguity. So what is the meaning of structural ambiguity? A word, phrase, or sentence is ambiguous if it has more than one meaning. The ambiguity, however, can be noticed if one really has a linguistic knowledge on how to analyze the phrase of sentence. Of the two kinds of ambiguity, lexical and instructional, the latter is the one which is explored further in the paper. So let me see the example of structural ambiguity from the article. So these are the structural ambiguity, which in a different different words, but symbolically it shows. A 16-year-old girl reported that she was raped that night in a storage shed of a dirt road in my hometown of Arlington, Tarrant. So the storage shed of a dirt road will be structural ambiguity. So following by that. Okay, that's all for the tree diagram. For the last one. The tree diagram is a newer method of diagramming sentence that is most commonly used by linguistic and other academic professionals, while the read catalog diagram was considered an effective tool for students to visualize sentence structure. It had many limitations. It dispenses with traditional word oral and use a variety of occasionally confusing symbols, meaning the resulting diagram was difficult to understand for anyone unfamiliar with the method. So these are the example of the tree diagram from the article. So you can ask me like, what is this? What is the meaning of S, NP, VP, NVD, and everything? So S is symbolic for subject, NP noun phrase and verb phrase. And then there will be determine nouns, verbs, preposition, and so on. So these are the three diagram you can see. So these are the three diagram. Okay. Second one. tree diagram. Okay, the third one, fourth one. Okay, okay, that's all. These are the three diagrams. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for the following on semantic, pragmatic, and discourse analysis. My group members will explain more about it and conclusion. So my group member will explain more about it. Okay, thank you very much and bye.
Um, okay. Hi, my name is Muhammad Azrul Saidin, and I will present about my part, which is pragmatics and discourse analysis. Okay, now for the pragmatics, the meaning of pragmatics, which is the study of intended speaker meaning or the study on what the speaker or writer intends to convey. For the pragmatics, there are a lot of subtopics, but I will share with you guys some of it. For example, invisible meaning, which is how we recognize what is meant even when it isn't actually said. For example, uh, when we are thirsty, uh, there are another word that uh, can be said as thirsty, but uh, how we can recognize it is by what they said. Maybe they give some signal or some words that is quite similar to it. Then another one is context. Okay, for the context, there are two, which is linguistic context and physical context. For linguistic context, which is, for example, bank or homonym is only known from the sentence on which bank is intended. But for physical context, when we see the word bank spelled out on the building, okay, that. So, other than that, is I will tell you about this, which is a show pointing via language or speaker's intended meaning. For the disease, there are three types, which is person disease, place disease, and time disease. For the person disease, uh, the example are me, you, him, them, and others that are related to it. So for another one, which is place disease, here, there, and others. And for time disease is now, then, tonight, last week, and last month. Okay, that is for the disease. And now for the reference and inference. As for reference, is an act where a speaker uses language to enable a listen to identify something, which is a writer and reader as well. And as for inference, any additional information used by listener to connect what is said to what we meant. Another one is I will tell about anaphora and antecedent. So, uh, anaphora is the use of an expression that depends specifically upon an antecedent expression, and thus is contrasted with cataphora, which is the use of an expression that depends upon a postcedent expression. For example, can I use your book? Sure, it's on the table. I hailed the taxi after waiting for 1 hour, but he just drove by. And what's your name? It's Amanda. Okay, now I will tell you about discourse analysis. So, for discourse analysis, Uh, the discourse is investigating features of language that extend beyond, and the discourse analysis is further investigation from pragmatics on the usage of language and investigate reading of text, meaning of speakers, recognize connected or jumble discourse. For the discourse analysis, there are few topics, which is interpreting discourse, cohesion, coherence, conversational interaction, cooperative principle, and background knowledge. So, for the some of it, I will tell is the interpreting discourse. As language users, we not only recognize forms and structures in a language, we are capable of recognizing fragments and can make sense with the casual relation between phrases. For the cohesion, there should be a certain connection within the text, should have certain cohesive links, and for coherence, does not exist in language but in people, making sense of what humans read or hear. Meaning is interpreted from experience. As for speech event, there is a variation in what people say and do in different circumstances. Roles of speaker and hearer have an influence on what is said and how it is said. Okay, that is the example for the discourse analysis for the few subtopics that uh, I share, and uh, for the last for discourse analysis is cooperative principle, which is by Paul Grace, four maxims to be obeyed, which is quality, quantity, relation, and manner. For the quality, speaker tells the truth or provable by adequate evidence. For the quantity, speaker is as informative as required. Relation, response is relevant to topic of discussion. And manner, speakers avoid ambiguity or obscurity, is direct and straightforward. For the background knowledge, is schema is when you can already know.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ritira Priyakaripianadar and my lecture's name is Madam Sugantini Nagalingam. So I'm here today to explain my part, which I did semantic and conclusion. So let's see semantic first. So which means semantic is the study of the meaning of words and sentences at its most basic. It is concerned with the relationship of linguistic forms to non-linguistic concepts and mental representations in order to explain how sentences are understood by languages users. To begin, consider semantics as the magic that occurs when individuals communicate and more crucially comprehend another. This spells is a well-balanced mix of elements, being able to understand words, having general knowledge, and using your experience. So let's see the first one. The first is conceptual versus associative. The basic important features of meaning provided by the literal usage of a word are covered by conceptual meaning. For example, a needle is a narrow, sharp, steel device. Associative meaning is the concept or link that a given word conjures up for you. For example, needle, pain, disease, or doctor. The second is semantic future, which means basically theoretical units of meaning holding components, semantic characteristics are utilized to express word or meaning. These characteristics are crucial in identifying the type of lexical relationship between in a language. The third is semantic roles. The way the nouns perhaps referent contributes to the state activity or conditioning represented by the sentence is referred to as semantical roles. Agents, patients, topic, place, experiencer, instruments, purpose, and source are only a few of the 8 semantic roles. The next is lexical relations. Lexical semantics or lexical relations is a type of semantic that deals with the meaning of word. Lexical relations are the connections between the meaning of words. It is the study of how lexicon is organized and how lexical meaning are connected to one another. So when we talk about lexical relationship, there are few parts, which means synonym, antonym, hyponym, homophones, homonyms, polysynonym, metonym, and collocation. So these are the small parts of the lexical relations. Let's see the synonym. So when it comes to synonym in semantic refer to a word with the same, nearly the same meaning as another word. Antonym. The term antonym in semantic derives from the Greek words anti and oni, which means opposite, and name. So antonym is a pair of words that have opposites, meaning. The next is hyponym, a semantic connection between a hyponym designating a subtype and a hyponym or hyperonym denoting a supertype is known as hyponym in linguistics. In other words, the hyponym semantic scope overlaps with that one of the hyponym. In simple word, a hyponym and its hyponym have a type connection. The next is homophones. Homophone is a term that sounds to differing degrees like another word but has a different meaning. A homophone spelling can also differ. The two words might be spelled similar, as in a rose. When it comes to rose, rose belongs to flower. So past tense of rose is rice. And or they can be spelled differently as in rain, rain, and rain, which means basically same pronunciation but different meaning and different words. The next is homonyms. While homonyms are the link between homonyms or words that have the same spelling or pronunciation. Next is polysynonym. Polysynonym is defined as the phenomena in which a single word form is linked to two or more related senses. It differs between monosynonym in which a single word form is linked to a single meaning and homonym which a single word form is linked to two or more unrelated meanings. The next is metonym. Metonym is a cognitive process, not in a figure of speech, that plays a significant part in semantic, pragmatic, and even grammatical structure, especially antony. So the last one is collocation. Collocation is a semantic collocations are multi-word formulations that are distinctive in terms of lexicon, syntax, pragmatism, and statistics. So that's my part for the semantic. Now move on to the conclusion. So in an overall conclusion, linguistics is an expanding domain of study which explore the structure, evaluations, and diverse communicational aspects of variety of languages. It emerged with a natural curiosity to explore the formation and development of languages, how they are formed, the context they evolve in and the factors that impact their development. For those inclined towards studying language and how they evolved over a long period of time, linguistics is surely an intriguing discipline. We will further discuss the scope of linguistics, its varieties, branches, jobs, and can explore as well as top university offering academic programs in this field. And I also like to add on that all of the semantics and all of the subtopics of the semantics, which I just read the meaning, and I also have the examples for each and every of these subtopics of this synonym, but I couldn't explain it here because it would take a lot of time. But basically, it is a normal thing that everyone know about it. Synonym, what are the synonym, what are the antonyms? So I refer to the article. In the report, I refer to the article. I took the sentences and I put it. So when it comes to the presentation, I didn't put it because mostly they will know what are the synonym, antonym, hypernym. So that's it from me. Thank you.